Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the January 10th BOCC meeting. Would you all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, again, good afternoon. First thing we have on our agenda are our minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners for January 3rd, 2023.
And I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of Commissioners, Montezuma County, January 3rd, 2023. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next up, we have planning.
Or the lack thereof.
And it looks like we have two Mylars to sign.
Correct.
All right. And we have a new pin, I hear. All right. And it was trained right-handed.
Just hold it backwards. It ought to work right.
Yep.
We can stay here an extra hour or two if McLean doesn't mind. Boy, that woke him up. That's all we have for today. We do have a scheduled public hearing on January 31st that their application's been withdrawn for the gardeners.
Okay.
But we'll remind you about that again on that day.
Okay.
But yeah, they've withdrawn their application, so we don't need a motion or anything on it, but just to let you know that that's not going to happen.
So that's went through planning already then? They just withdrew their...
Went through P&Z.
And it was scheduled for you guys on December 6th, and we had to continue it.
We
to the
continued it.
31st, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
Very good.
that's the latest update I got.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, the next thing we have is public comment. Montezuma County Board of Commissioners welcomes you to this meeting. Person speaking during the public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced to allow all the members of the public the opportunity to address the board. When addressing the board, please state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments. Comments to individual supervisors or staff are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time to others. And with that, the public comment session is open.
Hi.
Hi.
Susan Chemnitz, 511 South Cedar Street. And I just wanted to comment on House Bill 21-1162, better known as a plastic bag bill. This bill has all kinds of problems, and I'm going to note a few of them, and I'm hoping that the county can do something, because this is just another case of the state doing things and not funding things, and just doesn't make any sense. One of the huge problems I see with this is for this year, until the actual total ban goes in place, they're going to essentially tax people that want to buy these bags. Now, the problem with this is that anybody that knows anything about business knows that those bags are already paid for by us, the consumers, as overhead. It's part of the expense of that, the whatever store doing business. And so when you charge more for it and then give back some of that to those stores, that's like double dipping. They're getting paid twice for something. Now, essentially, they don't get all of it because now you're supposed to be the police. And you're going to get part of that, but I don't know what you're supposed to do with that anyway, because it's like if the state wants to impose this tax, they should be policing it, not you. And it is a sales tax. And the other problem I see with it is that people that are on public assistance, that they won't have to pay for the bags. But this is very discriminatory towards me because I still would have to pay for the bags. And I am below the poverty level for the federal poverty level. So it's discriminatory towards me. It's also discriminatory towards businesses because certain businesses don't have to pay any attention to it. But what I'm wondering is in next year, when they force everyone to stop using all of these plastic bags altogether, and you'll have to use like a recycled bag, what's going to happen to like the thrift shops that get all those bags free that people bring in, and that's what they use to package their stuff that they sell? So I hope that you can do something. I don't know what it is. Discrimination, not equal justice under the law or whatever, but hopefully you can figure out something. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Anybody else? This is public comment, so we don't answer questions. It's your time to address us. So it's
Agenda, I'm just not familiar with it, I'm sorry. Is the speed limit at the topic on your agenda today? Because it's not always the public comment section.
Nope.
Okay. All right, I'll go with it. Sorry for that.
And again, this is just public comment. We're not, it's not a dialogue, just so that you
Sure.
understand that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My name is Lena May. I live on VDOT 4 in Dolores, and I'm here today with Bruce Bjorklund to talk about the speed limit on Highway 491.
He is a coffee shop owner across the street. It's a new business that opened from Lewis Ariel Elementary School. And I understand that the speed limit has been requested to be reduced on that highway now for 2 years, and it's been denied by the Colorado Highway Department. A speed study was done after an accident happened there, and there was a double guardrail installed and no reduction of the speed. So I just wanted to express my concern. I've turned into the coffee shop. I teach art there for Bruce, and a couple times the semi just went in the left lane and went right around me when I was trying to turn right, and I don't want to die on that highway. It's pretty dangerous, and I just keep getting excuses about why the speed limit continues to be so high. Bruce, do you want to say something maybe? Sorry.
I'd like to find out why they.
Can you state your name and address first, please?
Bruce Bjorklund, the address is 17455 Highway 491. The traffic going by the store out there in our house is probably exceeding 70, 75 miles an hour. And that includes the big rigs and all the cars. And the speed limit down at the school is 55. But it's not posted as 65 for 2 miles past our house. Then they're passing right there where you go to turn into your driveway. They'll pass you on the left when you're turning left, or they'll pass you on the right. And a couple times I've had to come out of my driveway into the right lane, coming south, and they're passing up the hill, head on at me. I had to go off on the shoulder. We need a double line out there so they'll quit passing. And we need the speed limit slowed down. Or posted, at least posted somewhere. And that's my complaint. Because somebody's gonna get killed right there in my driveway. We've already had one fatality right down the road, 300 feet from our house. Because they were passing. And there's a memorial on the side of the road if you wanna go down there and look. And that wasn't just a head-oner, that was a crash and burn. So something's gotta be done. I don't know whether throw spike strips across the highway to slow them down, I don't know. I've called CDOT and they haven't done a damn thing. Well, we'll put you on the books. So that's my complaint for today. See if we can't do something.
All right, thank you.
Sure, and I'd just
All
like
right.
to add one more thing. The CDOT safety traffic study that was done as a follow-up from the accident that happened out there 2 years ago said there's no crosswalk in front of the school, and that's why the speed limit can't be reduced. And that's an absolute crazy thing to think about, that they installed a double guardrail in front of the school after an accident spilled over on the elementary school playground, but they can't lower the speed limit. So I just, want to challenge, the county here to kind of push a little bit harder back on CDOT, because it's been 2 years since that accident. People are still going really fast on that highway with, winter conditions. There's no way you can go 65 and slow down when moms are dropping their kids off at school, and the traffic pattern changes there during school hours, or when Mr. Bjorklund's coffee shop is hosting art classes. We need it to do a better job. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, with that, I'll close the public comment session. But I will address, I will take the opportunity at this point in time to address that situation to a certain degree. First of all, I was sitting on this commission when that came up with CDOT at the school. The school did move their playground because the traffic study showed that speed cannot be lowered at that section of roadway. The yellow cautionary signs were put up as cautionary signs only. They're yellow, they're black on yellow, which are cautionary signs. So somebody going through there at 65 miles an hour is still not technically legally speeding. So just so that you understand that, that is a CDOT highway, and we don't really have any jurisdiction over it, other than at the county road intersections. So just a little bit of history that goes along with that. So with that, we're going to move on to public lands. I don't see Derek Padilla in here. Is he here by Zoom? Okay. Well, if he comes in, we'll let him address the board. So we'll go ahead and go to operations. We're going to move around because we have a public hearing at 1:30. So, Mr. McLean.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll just give you a quick update on 2022 recap for IT department, just so you get a kind of an idea of what we dealt with. In 2022, we had 3,069 help desk tickets. That does not include about 20% more for phone calls and what we call drive-bys. So, and a lot of those they're not like huge help desks, just that's how many we answered. We're installing cameras at the sheriff's office, getting ready to finish getting that going here, so we've got about 60 left to do. I did finish putting a wireless into the drug task force, so they have much better internet now than they had before. The Duo multi-factor authentication, everybody saw that email, and I'll update department heads at the next meeting, but we got about 75 of them completed as of today, so it's going fine. Takes time. We just finished putting in the e-discovery stuff for the DA and the sheriff's office and CPD and all that, so we had to go to a new system. The broadband is going really well. We're just waiting to hear back from the NTIA grant, and it looks like we're going to do pretty good there. We had some complications with CDOT, and I'm beginning with Ian. We're going to be working on the IGA for Region 9. I'm working on the technical component now. I'm writing that piece of it, so we're moving along pretty good speed with the broadband, so we should have some better answers for you all in about maybe 2 months or so, once we have an answer on the grant. We installed the key lock box at Annex 3 for the pool cars. That's done. And as soon as I get the readers in, we'll put the other one in here. I'm working with the town of Dolores right now because we have to get ready to move the substation because they're moving the town hall, so we're working that out. And I'm working with Phaedra to get this ClearGov stuff implemented, so I'll be meeting with them, I think, next week. And that's pretty much about it.
Okay. Very good. So the card readers will be on the lock boxes?
Yes.
For the keys?
Yes, the
So-
one in Annex 3 is done, so if you go up there, only the ones that would
So
happen
the
to,
two that are over there and the two that are here?
there's one key box over at Annex 3,
Mm-hmm.
and there'll be one here, and then you'll open it and take whatever keys
Okay.
to whatever car.
Right.
But what that does is it gives us a running log, so let's say a set of keys doesn't get returned, we can go on and tell you who scanned last, and they can tell you where that's at, so
Okay,
it's a good, kind of a little secure measure for us.
okay.
And we tested it, works fine.
Very good, thank you.
Anything else, gentlemen?
No.
Thank you.
Nothing, thank you. All right, Mr. Doug, I guess maybe we'll just keep you in the hot seat for 20, 30 minutes. Sure. Come on up. Since you're our public hearing.
And so I wonder if we can't start that public hearing till 1:30.
Right, but he's still on the schedule just for his report, his normal
Okay.
report.
Yeah,
So-
I'll mention something. We can. Hello? Okay.
Yep.
We can discuss it. One thing that we just sent out our normal monthly address change, new address list, and what we've been working on, something Nolan's been working on is something I've been intending to work on for years now is readdressing the subdivisions that are that are up in the forest, way above Mancus. There's a Spring Creek, there's an Aspen Glen, Aspen Grove, and there's a small lot subdivisions up there. They've never had proper addressing up there. They've had somewhat of a Road 42 designation with no signage. Sometimes they've been referred to under the subdivision name dash lot number. So what we've decided in discussions with the emergency manager and Lori over at dispatch, and also sent some information over to Tony Aspermonte, the Mancus Fire Department, Mancus Fire Chief, for comment, is getting those addressed utilizing a Forest Service road number designation. So the decision, do we want to make those county road names? Well, I think that's a little bit confusing to say it's a county road. It's certainly confusing as it is now to say it's a county road 42 when it literally does not connect directly through and you have to enter the forest. So using forest road designations for any of those in holdings and getting those readdressed is something that we're going to be working on. Nolan has we're going to be doing rather than doing an individual lot at a time, we're going to be doing a subdivision at a time, sending those out so that all the affected departments have those maps showing what the new addresses are, and then also making sure that we have proper signage using a red sign designation, both at the intersection with the nearest county road as you enter the forest, and then also where you enter the subdivision from the national forest, and making sure that there's a continuity of signage that way. And also because this is kind of a special project and we want to make sure that all the address numbers get posted and displayed, we'll be making address number signs for all those lots up there and getting those installed at the driveway locations. So getting that prep so we're ready to go as soon as.
Does Aspen Glen actually still reside in Montezuma County? Is that what it's called, right? Or Aspen Grove or whatever it's up there?
Aspen
Grove? Is that actually in Montezuma County?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just barely.
I was gonna say, okay.
Or we'll just be working for Dolores, doing a little working with Dolores County.
Well, Dolores County, I think, got all of those subdivisions
They did.
done. I mean, I actually now have an address up
Yeah.
in the mountains.
And I believe that they chose to use a county road designation in that case, but it's situational. It's a little different in the groundhog area because you have a large area of in holding surrounded by Forest Service and state land. It's a little different here when you have a tiny little area surrounded by forest.
That's
roads.
very small. That's a,
Mm-hmm.
gosh, I don't even know how big that subdivision is, but it's super small.
Yeah. So it's really confusing the way it is now. So we'll at least get those. Obviously, I think most all of those are seasonal use only. I don't know if anybody's snowmobiles up there, but nonetheless, getting those all prepared now so that those owners are notified that this is going to be happening before they start to get up there this summer. They'll know what's happening. So yeah, it'll just be a good project.
Okay.
I don't know anything else there.
Yeah, well, I don't know, we mainly just for 911 emergency service. I mean, of course, GPS, but, that stuff might fail, but it's better to have like a better designation of address or location, and pretty sure it's going to be more active in the summertime once everything melts and gets warmer. So, we went through 911 dispatch and clarified this is where what we're going to initiate addressing. So she, what is her name? Lori. So we talked to Lori and she said, yeah, it's a good plan. So, and we discussed it with Jim Sproutland and Vicky too about the plan also. So.
Okay. Good deal. You know, those are seasonal road access, but to say that they're just seasonal is really not the case anymore. There are people in our subdivision up there all the time, and they're full every weekend. Just because you can't get a vehicle up there doesn't mean that people are not up there because they are. So to have an address to really know where, obviously that sends search and rescue out to be able to get access up there. But the people are up there all the time. It's not just road access. They're accessed all the time.
Yeah, there's, in looking around at things, we discovered there's a whole kind of wedding event center business up above Transfer Park that we didn't even particularly know about, and I think it was addressed off, I can't remember what road name it was addressed off of, but yeah, there's a lot of activity up there, certainly.
Good deal. Good deal. Anything else?
Well, we've got 4 minutes.
When you find stuff like this wedding event center, do you relay that information to the assessor's office?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, absolutely.
And planning?
And planning, yep. The assessors indicated that they didn't want the appraisers on their property, so I don't know how they handled that, but that was the impression I got when we said, hey, do you know about all these buildings and tents? And they have the great thing about the internet now is if we want information on a property, we can look at the Zillow listings. This event center has a listing describing every single accommodation that they have on the property, so it's all out there, you know.
Is it compliant? Okay.
We didn't tell you? Yeah, we did.
All right. Well, that's a discussion for back there somewhere. So we have, what do we have? 3 minutes? You guys just sit right there, but we're not going to waste any time. We're going to go to our new business, and then we're going to jump around just a little bit. So the first thing on our agenda for new business is the administrative budget policy. Commissioner Copenhaver is not with us today, so I'd like to just table that till next week until Commissioner Copenhaver is here. And we can actually jump to the next one. We have the organization of the BOCC. This was actually discussed in our workshop yesterday, and it was kind of shown as you can all see here right now. So, Commissioner Lindsay, do you have any? I think all of the names were changed that are now in the proper order.
I would so move we adopt the 2023 office appointments and also the organization of the BOCC.
And I'll second it. So it's been moved and seconded to adopt the 2023 office appointments and the organization of the BOCC for Montezuma County. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have a resolution designating our county administrator to prepare the budget. If you want to pull that up, Travis, we can get through that real quickly also. So, Ian, do you want to go over this at all?
Not really. This is just a statutory requirement that the county has to do to designate an individual to prepare the budget. And so, yeah, there's nothing really too exciting.
It's somewhat of a formality.
It's a formality.
Right. I would so adopt Resolution 1-2023, appointing the county administrator to prepare and submit a budget for 2023.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to accept resolution number 1, 2023, a resolution appointing the county administrator to prepare and submit a budget for 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and with that, my digital clock says it's 1:30. So with that, we're going to jump into this public hearing. Kim, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsay.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver is absent. Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
And Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for the purpose of the establishment, revision, or alteration of commissioner districts as required by CRS 30-10-306, parentheses 4 and parentheses 5, on Tuesday, January 10th, 2023, beginning at 1:30 p.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Courthouse, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. The proposed Commissioner District map is on display in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, 250 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado, and is also available for download at https://montezumacounty.org public notices. Anyone may examine the map and submit comments to the GIS department located at 109 West Main, room 282, Cortez, Colorado, during regular office hours or by phone at 970-565-4169 or by email at droth@co.montezuma.co.us. Dated this 20th day of December, 2022. Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado. Published in the Cortez Journal on Wednesday, December 21st, 2022, and Wednesday, December 28th, 2022.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Okay, with that, Doug, we've actually looked at this one time before. We can go over it again briefly, but did we have any comments at all on our?
I've not received any comments. We had it posted in the back of the room here. We had a copy in the GIS department. It's been on the website and have not received any comments. So just briefly going over it, this is required by Colorado statute that we do this after every decennial census. Things were delayed a little bit this year with delayed census data and COVID. Normally would have done this about a year and a half ago. However, we are doing it right now. And the situation is that the statutes require that that we balance out the commissioner districts as nearly equal as possible, which is a little bit vague, but most counties use a maximum of 5% difference in district population variance. Currently, as the commissioner's district stands with the 2020 census data, there's a 9% difference between District 1 and District 2. So we have two options that we're looking at today. Both of those have 3.1% difference in the population of the three commissioner districts. And so it is review both proposals, and it's whatever comments we may receive, and it's whatever the commissioner's I guess decision is, which option they would like to go with. So if you can scroll down, Travis, to that first page, the second page, I guess. And so this would be option number 1, and so the red lines on this map are what the current commissioner districts are. I'm calling this the least change option, in that the only change that it does is to move the District 1 line south from Road M to Road N to Road M. The rest of the boundaries stay the same. As you can see, District 3 does cut into the city of Cortez and continue up. And then on the next page, and this is going to be the same for both options, there's I'd say kind of a semantic change here, in that up in the forest in the northeast part of the county, I am proposing that we align that red line to the section lines, which is what most other fire districts and school districts boundary aligns to, and that's just for clarification. That does not affect homes or population up there. So option number 2, which is the next page. This option, essentially, I'm calling this City of Cortez is District 2. So that aligns entirely with the outer boundary of Cortez. That makes Cortez District number 2. And a slight change up there in those 27-1 and 27-3 north of the golf course. Other than that, there's no change throughout the rest of the county. So it's, you know, commissioner districting, since everything is voting at large, essentially it amounts to a residency requirement in where the distribution of the commissioners would be required to live throughout the county. You have to live in the district that you're representing. So that's the situation.
Okay.
You have a preference?
Well, actually, I thought about this a lot. So, you know, first, initially, I looked at option number 1, and it's the least change. However, in the next 10 years before we have the next census, with the land use code changing in the city, allowing all of the ADUs, the smaller lots, I think that your growth within the city is going to become more significant than anywhere else. So I looked at option number 2, and it actually encompasses the entire city. It takes in that portion off of District 3, and it actually puts it to where I think the bigger part of the growth, just in my opinion, I don't have any data to support that, but other than looking at what they're going to do with their land use code changes. So to me, option number 2 makes the most sense. It's within then the city's boundaries, all of them, and the county is left. We don't have District 3 coming into the city of Cortez. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I would vote for option 2.
I would agree. The old boundary lines, this is pretty consistent what it used to be 20, 25 years ago. I mean, it was basically the city of Cortez. I mean, it doesn't really make that much difference because that's my district, but I mean, 1 or 2. But I just looking at the map sort of squares it up a little bit better.
And the other thing is we listen to everything for all 3 districts. It's not like we just represent just District 1 or District 2. We serve the entire county, so we look at everything equally. So option 2 would be mine.
I drive a lot of county roads. I would propose that we accept option number 2 and the 2023 Montezuma County Commissioner redistricting. Oh, sorry, we should.
Yeah, I'll open it up for public
I
comment.
got ahead of myself.
That's okay, but I know where you're at. So that's our discussion for the commissioners. With that, I'll open this up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address, and you may address the board. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public comment. The public comment? Did I close it too early?
No.
Okay, I'll close the public comment session of this, and I will bring it back to the commissioner. So
Just
now,
restate the motion.
okay.
I would so move that we approve option number 2 in the 2023 Montezuma County Commissioner redistricting.
Second. So it's been moved and seconded to accept option number 2 of the Montezuma County Commissioner redistricting. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will close this public hearing.
So then the next step per the statutes is that we convened a public hearing on the districts no less than 30 days before adopting a resolution. So we'll prepare a resolution. It will make it official. We'll go ahead and make the map official, referencing the resolution, get that signed in a month and be done.
Okay,
Sounds good.
very good. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Okay, moving right along, we have a resolution designating location of our posted agendas. I think this is also by statute that we have to do this and make sure that it's public, that everybody knows where these agendas are going to be posted. Do you have anything else to add to that, Ian?
No, that's it. This is just another statutory formality. I think that the last time that we did this was 2015. There's no change since then, but this is just an updated resolution, so everybody's familiar with where our agendas will be posted, and basically they're going to be here and then over at the annex.
Okay.
I would so move we adopt Resolution 2-2023, a resolution designating the location of posted agendas and designated county office hours.
Second. Been moved and seconded to accept resolution number 2, 2023, a resolution designating the location of posted agendas and designating county office hours. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, with that, now we have a broadband letter that was posed by CCI, all of the other counties, to basically get on board with this. So this is a letter going to Governor Polis. Travis, I'll let you add anything else that you want to that.
I really don't have a whole lot to add, other than this is just a letter trying to get the governor to acknowledge the broadband needs that we are in need of in our area, and hoping that they'll take some action.
Correct. A lot of what this does is it works with CDOT, and it basically ties they're coming over Wolf Creek Pass, and they need to tie it here back up to Region 10 to make the redundancy loop, so that it's actually somewhat complete at this point in time, and we're kind of the last. Southwest Colorado seems to get left out of everything with the state, so this is just another way of tying ourselves into that so that we can actually have access to it.
I would so move we sign a letter to Governor Polis stating that we do have a clear need to improve broadband services for rural and remote areas of Colorado.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to accept and sign the letter sent to Governor Polis in regards to the broadband letter for Governor Polis in our region. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I need to get that back to you, Travis, or do I send that back?
Yeah, you can give it back to me, and then I'll forward it on.
I think it went to Katie first, or anywhere. Okay. All right. Unfinished business. First thing we have is a discussion related to the racetrack contract. In our workshop yesterday, the racetrack contract is ready to be signed. We discussed it. He does want to go out there a few months early to start doing upgrades, or at least get costs on a fence so that he can start racing the season in an appropriate time manner. We're okay with that, so I think it's just a matter of us signing the contract now.
Yeah, and so Commissioner, I looked at that contract that we presented to Julian Garcia back in, I believe it was December, something like that. The contract's pretty much ready to go. I did make a small change just to specifically indicate that he's going to be in there in the earlier months and what he's going to be in there for.
Okay.
What I propose is that we send that to him, and I'll take care of that, and then he can sign it, and then when it's signed, assuming he's okay with it, we'll put it back in front of you guys. I just want to be sure that the language in that contract aligns with what he's wanting to do.
Okay.
I think it's better to be a little bit more specific. The way it was written, I think at the point in time that the contract was drafted, we weren't exactly sure what it was that Mr. Garcia was looking to do out there. And there was also a little bit of an open question about insurance at that point in time, because we want to be sure that if Mr. Garcia is going to enter onto the premises prior to that April racing season, that he's covered with insurance there too. I think he said that he would be okay with that.
He did say that he would be still covered with that, because that was one of our first questions when he came in December.
He did say that, and so I just wanted to make a small change to the language just to be sure that that's memorialized. And so we'll get that to him, and then as soon as he signs it, we'll bring it back
And we'll
before
bring
you
it
guys.
back to us.
Yep.
Okay, very good. All right. Next, we have the Fairgrounds Water Suppression System. This, again, was discussed yesterday in our workshop. We have some costs that were presented to us, and we actually have our prints that were sent to the state for approval for the suppression system. But part of that was removing the suppression system that lies over the arena area, which is nothing more than dirt and non-combustible material at this point in time. However, during some of the shows, there are fire watches in there, so that was discussed. We did basically look at the cost of this, and with our CTF funds of where they're at right now, we felt like, or I'm going to assume that we felt like this was too much of a
Right, it's too costly.
to crack. So as soon as we get our grant writer on top of this, we will get them writing a grant through the
Assistance to Firefighter Grant.
Assistance to Firefighter Grant, and hopefully then we can get this resolved in a short amount of time, because it's still a pretty hefty lift of almost $11,000 to get that suppression system working. $75,000 of it being a membership fee, and so this we are going to put into our grant writer's hands, and this will be coming back. So no decision is going to be made other than we are giving it to the grant writer to see if they can find the funding to make this happen.
And Commissioner, I guess one thing that I would add, and I think this was something that we discussed yesterday, and I think it's important for the public to understand. We're gonna put up we're gonna be sure that we have appropriate signage down there indicating exit plans. We're gonna be sure that folks understand what to do in the case of the fire, be sure that we have everything we need, so if a fire breaks out down there, we're ready for it and people can get safely out. I mean, obviously, the fire suppression system is going to be the ideal, but there are a lot of other ways that we can mitigate fire danger, and so I think that was something we discussed yesterday. We're gonna take those steps and do whatever we can to make sure that people stay safe.
Okay, thank you, Ian. All right, moving right along. Next, we have Mr. Dietrich. We'll talk about the ORIC proposals and the decision. We did have a question that was posed to you yesterday, so if you'll come forward to the mic, pick either one you want. You can stand, you can sit. Ms. Thurman would like to come with you, I see. Come on down. So as we left this discussion yesterday, the four proposals that you gave to us, we did ask one question, and did you get any clarity on that?
Yes, I believe we did. We did contact both of these consultants. I think in a nutshell, what it comes down to is we've got one consultant group that is a brand new firm. They started in 2020. I think they're very eager for this project, really have a lot of drive for it, and that's why we're seeing some pretty low figures on that side of it, and higher hourly output on that side of it. The other side of it is that for the other firm that we were considering, they're an older firm. They've been in existence for over 20 years, very confident. They feel like they can deliver the product, very efficiently, and I think that's really what the difference really kind of came down to. And I guess my recommendation would be then that we follow the written format that we followed. The federal guidelines told us that we did have to follow that. I think that's the safest route for us to follow. For one thing, if anybody did come to us and had a complaint or something like that, we've got a track record on that. So that would be my suggestion. I would recommend that we offer this opportunity up to RPI Consulting.
Okay. Questions?
No, I mean,
Okay.
all the questions were asked yesterday and answered very well. Thank you.
Okay. I think we just had an outstanding set of consultants. Every single consultant on this list, I think, would provide us a very, very good product. However, we do have a great track record with RPI. They're proven in the field, and we have that written process that backs that up, so. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen.
And they
Appreciate it.
are local, so I actually do like that also, so.
Yeah, I would so move we offer the contract to RPI for the OREC proposal, I guess.
Yeah, the outdoor recreation strategy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded to accept RPI for the OREC proposal contract. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there you go.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, now we have a contract that we need to sign. And I guess, Ian, I'm going to give this one to you since you're the guy that looks at all the contracts prior to any of our signings. So do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so this is a contract for the portion of the Paths to Mesa Verde Trail. We discussed it yesterday during our workshop. I just brought up a couple of the concerns yesterday. I think we discussed those yesterday. I mean, the overarching concern is a lot of these contracts where money is offered by the state here. This is offered by the Colorado Department of Transportation. There's a lot of termination clauses in these contracts that allow the state to get out pretty easily in the event that they want to. If they deem that the project's no longer in the public interest, they can get out. If they suddenly run out of funding, they can get out. And so, whenever you look at a contract, you look at, those sort of things and who can get out and how they get out. And certainly there's easy outs for the state. All that said, we're getting a lot of money out of this contract. And so, the worst thing that we could possibly end up with would be a partially completed path. So other than that, I'm fairly comfortable. There is a venue clause that requires us to litigate in Denver County. And so that's, obviously always inconvenient if you have to go up and litigate up there. But that's another thing that's very standard in these kind of contracts. With the amount of money they're offering, I don't see a lot of movement and trying to convince them to come down and fight over this in Montezuma County.
Okay. Commissioner?
Yeah, I would so move we accept the contract between the State of Colorado Department of Transportation and Montezuma County for contract OLA 25346.
Okay, it's been moved in, second. It's been moved and seconded, kind of out of my groove here, I do having a second. So that we accept a contract with the Colorado Department of Transportation for the OLA contract 25346. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do they need to sign this one, or is it a DocuSign?
So this was originally sent through DocuSign, correct, Jim?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could certainly sign that copy. We've certainly made a motion to sign the contract, and then I suppose that if the state also needs a signed copy that's signed through DocuSign,
We'll have it,
we can
okay.
do it via that too.
Okay. All right, there you go. And last, we have a grant agreement for signatures, also another one with the state of Colorado, and this is with the Secretary of State. We discussed this yesterday, and Kim, I'm going to let you highlight this one for us.
Okay, so basically this is a security grant program through the Secretary of State's office. We have asked them for funds to help us with our new election room. They're going to help us get some cameras, additional cameras, some additional door security, some security for our VSPC equipment, We're gonna get some cages for that, and then the last thing is some storage for that office, and it's, in the amount of $14,043.
Okay, can you scroll there? Yeah. I would so move, we sign the contract with the Colorado Department of State, or we authorize Kim to sign, Kim Purcell, the county clerk, to sign the contract between the Colorado Department of State and Montezuma County for core number CTVAAA 113-2023-3225.
And I will second it. Any further discussion? All right, it's been moved and seconded to designate Kim Purcell, our clerk, to sign the contract with the Secretary of State, the core contract CT, VAAA 1113-2023-3225. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. With that, I see Mr. Padilla stepped in the room. So, Mr. Padilla, I'll call you up here and let you give us an update. But before we even get to an update, I have a question. Okay. I'm gonna go right off the beginning. So, and I don't have any numbers in front of me yet. I have our road department looking at a flashing, like a flashing cautionary sign. I noticed one that we have down in McCammell Canyon, and I know we put a sign up at County Road 31 right there at Bean Canyon, which is great. But my concern is at night. I'm not sure if everybody's going to really see that, and some of the accidents that potentially could happen also after dark. So again, I don't have any numbers in front of me, but with the parking lot work that's going on up there, would there be any funds maybe to divert a little bit to that sign, or just a question?
It would just be something I would need to look into. We currently don't really have funds identified for the parking lot construction and things like that. We're just going through the planning at this point, and then once we get the planning done, then we'll move forward with identifying funding for actual implementation. But I mean, we have a lot, pots of money at this point in time with all the different initiatives and things like that we could potentially, support that.
Okay.
But
and again, as soon as our road department gets an actual cost on those signs, then I can forward that to you, and we can have a discussion at a later date. But I just, as I was going down McCammell Canyon the other day, I saw that, and I'm like, this is a lot.
Sure.
This is a lot better. That actually catches your eye in the dark.
Yep, no, I agree. I mean, the visibility would, increase, significantly with something like that. So that's not a bad idea.
Okay. The only thing that we would have to do is turn it off and on, obviously in the summer, where there are no roads, so that it doesn't flash. But that's not a big deal, talking to the road department. So just kind of wanted to put that on your radar.
Okay.
To try and even help mitigate that a little bit farther up Road 31. And with that, I'll quit asking questions and wait till the end, and then I'll ask a lot more.
All right. Well, actually, that was my first topic of discussion with the Dolores Norwood Road. Just after our last meeting, we had a discussion internally that, we need to develop a long-term plan for that road. You all have already expressed your, interest and support in, either, putting in parallel grant submissions or whatever the case to, deal with the county side as well as us doing the Forest Service side. And we're also I'm gonna have the same conversation with Dolores County, and then also ask Dolores County. I don't deal much with San Miguel County. But I believe the Dolores County commissioners do, and if you guys have any involvement with them, seeing if there's any interest in just doing a complete route kind of evaluation, and then look for funding opportunities to address the road as a whole. That's kind of what we were thinking. The best approach would be. So
We actually do deal with San Miguel County commissioners quite a bit.
Okay.
Obviously, one of the things that we're dealing with right now is the NCA, but just on a regular basis through CCI, we get to see and talk to them quite a bit. So we know all of them.
Okay, yeah,
Actually
so
have a
if you
personal
all
relationship with
wouldn't,
them.
mind, seeing kind of what their feelings are towards the Dolores Norwood Road, and if they have any interest in, partnering with ourselves and you all in Dolores County to there again address, just the road as a whole, that would be appreciated.
Okay.
And then along those lines, we also are gonna, look for additional funding to, do similar to what we did last year as far as the asphalt patching, and, hopefully either get more done or address, those spots that may have gotten, bad within the area that we've already done. But we'll do that again until we find a longer-term solution to the Dolores Norwood Road. Next thing is just we're continuing with our prescribed fire pile burning. We burnt some more piles out in the Chicken Creek last week, and I think we're pretty much done with everything down low, and then we'll start continuing with other areas as the opportunities present themselves, just like we talked about last month. But with the snow, it's been providing the opportunities to get in there and take care of that. So hopefully it keeps on coming. And then lastly, the Dolores Recreation Access EA, the comment period ended at the end of December. A couple of comments that have been received that involve the county. One involves snow plowing on the Chicken Creek Road. Basically, we in the past had closed the gate at the forest boundary. This was prior to me getting here. I think there was a contractor that was needing access back in there to do some logging on private lands that took issue with the gate being closed and them having to get in and out of the vehicle to open and close it each time that they were up in that area. So they had approached the county, and the county felt that the jurisdiction was actually at the 90-degree turn there. At least in the last 4 or 5 years, and this isn't being critical of the county road department or anything like that, it hasn't been plowed beyond the forest boundary to that 90-degree. And people are just asking, well, is there going to be a change in that? Tom Rice, my recreation staff officer, has talked with Rob Engelhardt, about whether or not, that might be an option. And basically the response was, well, if, the county commissioners are supportive of the road department plowing all the way to that 90-degree during the winter, then, they would, basically follow your direction if that's what the case was. So just bringing that to light, that was a comment and, something that we'll need to address. And I don't know if you have any, position on it right now, but since I'm just presenting it with something you need to think about, I understand.
I read those emails that were going back and forth, and I read our road and bridge superintendent's comments to it. So I think the biggest issue, and this happened prior to me becoming a commissioner, was that 90-degree turn is where that private property is to those people, I think would be to the north, correct? Would that be north?
There's north and to the east.
And to the east. Well, that's where everybody was parking and blocking their access to in and out of their property, and they couldn't get it. It's not a designated parking lot, so the parking lot was built and pushed down to the initial, where actually, I guess, where you actually go into to the Forest Service boundary, right? It's kind of off to the.
Well, there's no parking lot there at all currently.
Well,
that's what we're trying to address through this.
I think that's what they're using it as a parking lot, but it's on Forest Service boundary or Forest Service ground and not blocking the private access up above. So, I don't. If we terminate plowing the snow at that 90-degree turn, that's going to congest that area for that access of that private property owner there. So I don't,
It wouldn't. I mean, basically, we're going to be building the parking lot, which would be on the west side.
Okay.
There at that corner.
Right.
Gerald was here. Actually, there was a corral that we were going to construct there, but then that kind of fell apart. So now that's where we're going to put the parking lot, and that was involving Gerald and the permits out there in that area. And anyways, you know, so it would be a matter of plowing to that area, and then our thought was that the county would then use that as their turnaround and plow out, you know, the other end of the parking lot, and then, you know, back out, so that there'd be kind of a win-win, if you will.
and that's a short distance too, quarter of a mile maybe? Is it that far?
You know, I was gonna measure that out before I got up here and I forgot. It's a quarter to a half mile. It's not very long. Yep.
Okay.
But we can get, you know, more specific, so that way, you know, you know if.
We
what
we
you're
can
considering.
actually add that because Commissioner Copenhaver is obviously more familiar with that area than I am. I mean, I know where you're
Yeah.
talking about, and I know
Mhm.
the turn, I know where everything is at there, but the history behind all of that, I don't, I get bits and pieces of it, but we could actually put that on a workshop if you want to discuss it in
Sure.
more length, and that might be better. Not that a decision is going to be made for this year, obviously, but
Right.
it's something going forward in the future.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
That'll work. And then the only other comment that involved the county was just there, just at Butler Corner, the town trail traverses the county right-of-way, is from what I understand, and then will connect into Forest Service trail that we're proposing at just where that portal sign is there on the Forest Service side. And then the landowner would be on the east side, you know, was just asking about, you know, well, who's granting authorization for the town trail to traverse, you know, his property. And basically we said, well, we're not authorizing the town trail. That's already a trail that's been established from what we understood. You know, we're only analyzing the Forest Service trail. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that they may be coming to speak with you about that.
So I guess I'm a little confused, and James, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the trail that goes, that parallels or is in the right-of-way of the county turns at W and goes back to the east that goes to that parking lot, right? So I don't think there's anything, as far as I'm aware of, that goes all the way to Butler Corner. So
Well, that's
I'm
the
not-
new proposal. I mean, that's what SWCA provided to us, Southwest Colorado Cycling Association, you know, that they wanted a tie-in, you know, there by the kiosk. So maybe we're making the wrong assumption that that had already been agreed to as far as the town trail going beyond Road W and tying in up there.
And I don't know if that's been proposed to us. I'm going to say I've slept more times than once, but
Sure.
I don't remember a proposal coming to us to even stay within the right-of-way north of W. James. Am I?
I don't recall that either. I recall that being a section that they wanted to look closer at. My understanding was it stopped at Road W.
Yep.
And then they were going to evaluate additional options as far as getting the rest of the way up.
But it wouldn't be on the property owner's land unless he gave him the right to be on that. Otherwise, it would have to be within the county road right-of-way, if we agreed to it.
Mhm.
Which obviously we've agreed to it, to get the people off of the roadway, because that's such a, specifically going up the hill, I mean, that's dangerous. People are walking on that. We wanted to get them off the roadway also to get them on the trail. But I don't, as far as I know, nobody's proposed anything to this commission as far as anything north of W.
Okay. I guess that's some research we need to do on our end to, you know, figure out exactly then where that, you know, originated, because that's what would be necessary, is that they need to be in the, either just on the road itself, or within the county right-of-way. And then the way the landowner explained it to me is that, I mean, he owns, you know, his land is up to the road edge. Well, it may be even further than that, I don't know, but but that basically it would be on his property and,
So that comes into the whole right-of-way discussion, easement discussion, which in reality, that's an attorney question. Once we have an easement through there, we're from fence to fence. We have that.
Okay.
Whether it's a right-of-way, an easement, that's a totally different discussion. But, yeah, we haven't had any proposal to us at this point in time.
okay. And that's all I had.
Okay. Well, gosh. Quick and easy. As soon as I have any costs, I'll get them to you. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, those signs are probably $1,200 a piece, but here again, I don't, with the inflationary costs that we're all
Right.
looking at nowadays,
Could be 2,400
could
next
be,
week.
yeah, it could be double, but
Exactly.
I'll email you something as soon as I get it from the road department.
Okay,
All right,
sounds good.
okay,
Thank you, Derek.
thank you,
All right.
appreciate it.
Oh, I thought you had a lot more stuff, I thought you said, so I was like.
No,
All right, well, thank you all, and Happy
Yep.
New Year.
thank you,
You
Happy
too.
New Year. Okay, Ian. County reports.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add this week. We're still set for oral argument in the Road 41 case on February 15th. There was some hope that we would get a meeting down at the road to just discuss some options. But unfortunately, because of the snow last week, that meeting wasn't able to happen. And so at this point, we remain set for oral argument there. And that's really all I have to report.
Okay. All right, very good. Travis?
Not a lot to report. Fielded some phone calls on the plastic bag law and enforcement and how we're going to enforce it, and had to address some of those questions and where the money was going. And we're in the preliminary stages, and I seriously doubt we're going to have a whole lot of enforcement, if at all, because we don't have those resources.
And I just, maybe just given the public comment that happened earlier, I think it's just important to clarify that law puts enforcement duties on the county, but the state cannot mandate that we enforce. So I think that's a key distinction to make. The state's asking us to enforce, the law prescribes that we have the enforcement mechanism, but, as far as enforcement, I mean, it's really up to this board to decide what, if anything, we're going to enforce in regards to that law.
Personally, I think that if they want it enforced, show up and do it. I know they put it on us, but we don't have, these unfunded mandates, we don't have the resources to do it anymore. We're at the end.
Looked like you wanted to add something. Ian.
Well, I mean, the state's provided some money for enforcement, but that
Doesn't cover the
it doesn't
cost.
it doesn't cover the cost, especially in a county this size, and without going too far down the rabbit hole, I think each county has to decide what's important to them,
I agree.
and I'll just leave it at that.
And that kind of rolls me into my next one. Tomorrow we'll be meeting with the treasurer and some other stakeholders in our budget committee to discuss the Senate bill on property taxes. Obviously, we don't collect sales tax in this county, and the Senate bill, we're going to determine how much of an impact that's going to have on our future budgets for the next year or two, and identify if we're going to get any backfill from the state. We may or may not. We don't know. So we're going to have a pretty hard discussion tomorrow and figure out the pathways forward.
Okay. All right, with that, we'll go to Commissioner's report.
I just fielded some phone calls and some in-person meetings. I didn't have any meetings this week. This week I have city council, excuse me. And other than that, not much to report. We had a workshop yesterday.
Had our workshop yesterday. It actually has been actually pretty nice and relatively quiet. I'll say the Q word and hopefully don't jinx us, but.
We'll fill the room up next week.
It's been nice. Actually had a couple meetings. On Thursday, we had probably the shortest NACO transportation meeting that I've ever been at, but it was basically the first one, all the changing of the guards and welcoming all the new commissioners that have come to serve on the NACO transportation meeting. And then there was just a real brief presentation, not a lot to go over there. We did have an insurance meeting, which is part of our budget committee meeting that we're all looking at all the time, figuring out ways to how we're going to cut money. But I'll tell you what, insurance rates just continually to rise, and it really affects us even as a county through our casualty, our loss, our property, our vehicles. I mean, it just continues to rise. But there'll be further discussions coming on that. We had our workshop yesterday, which a lot of the things we've already went through basically through our unfinished business today. And then I was able to attend the Dolores town meeting last night. One of the biggest, I won't say confrontational, but one of the biggest things that they spent a lot of time discussing was snow removal. So it brought it up for me to kind of highlight today for us on our county roads. So we don't plow driveways, and as bad as it's irritating that our focus is to get the county road cleared, and a lot of times our plows are winged to push the snow off of the county road. And if you have a driveway there, as bad as I hate to say it, you are going to get a berm there. We don't go back and take out those berms, so be patient with us and realize that if you have to get somewhere and that berm is higher than your car can get out of, give yourself enough time for that because we still have a lot of road miles that we have to get out and get plowed. And I think that our road and bridge does a very good job of getting the snow removal done. They start very early in the morning, and they keep going as long as it's going. Another issue that they are working on is Empire Electric is going to be coming out to give them a demonstration on a different LED light for their street lights. Apparently they have a lot of constituents that are upset about the brightness of the light. And it was proposed to them that they were talking about dark sky, and it was brought to them that it doesn't mean that you turn out the lights. There are all the lights over there right now are compliant with dark sky. It shadows, it focuses and goes down. And anyway, I think that's going to be a long discussion, and I'm glad I'm not having to deal with it other than to listen to it. But I think they'll get some kind of a resolution, hopefully, with the power company and get something done. And gave them an update on Ironwood, and that was the end of my night at like 9 o'clock last night. So other than that, I have nothing else to report.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this January 10th, 2023 meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.